Hi, it's Amy with Intuitive Coaching with Amy Radio, and this is your sacred space for spirituality, intuition, manifestation, metaphysical wisdom, and personal development. And I want to talk about the future self sessions. They're still available. I actually have increased the price because I've been doing them, and the insight that has been coming forward will blow your mind. And I thought, yeah, there is so much value here. And so it's $450 now for the 4 sessions. And I mean, there's nothing like this on the market. Nothing like this on the market. I guide you through a very specific process so that you can receive very specific, usable psychic information from your future self. You pick what part of your timeline that you're reaching out to. You have your questions for that version of yourself, and it comes forward, and it's just, or you come forward, and it's just, oh my gosh, holding space for people, and they come back and they're like, Amy, I heard this and I heard this, and now I know what to do here, and I feel so much better about this. It is stress relief in a bottle. I think this is why in psychology, they say when you build a relationship with your future self, it reduces your stress. People who have a relationship with their future self. So now you're going to talk to your future self psychically in these sessions. They're amazing. I keep refining and making the process even easier energetically so that you can get in and out with, it just beautifully. I am now at the point in my own personal practice that I am using talking to my future self more than I use my oracle cards right now in my own life. That is huge because I've said many times on the show, I pull cards for myself all the time because the insight is so relevant. I understand. I'm talking to myself, right? And yes, I'm psychic and my future self is psychic. But I've had clients who don't necessarily identify as psychic. I do believe a lot of people who are drawn to my work have a strong intuition, but everyone can get in and get some insight that just truly blows your mind. And I don't use that phrase too often here on this program, but you will just be astounded by what comes forward. And so I wanted to get in here and talk a little bit about, in case you don't want to do sessions with me, but you want to start talking to your future self because it sounds appealing. I do want to give you some insight that I've uncovered over doing the sessions. And I wanted to share a story, right? So I was facing something a couple weeks ago. I was working a manifestation. And I went to my future self, and the information was so accurate. Like literally the next day, it appeared exactly the way she showed it to me. It was, and again, I'm psychic, and so I'm used to stuff like that. But I still was like, are you kidding me that it was like this? It was just so mind-blowingly beautiful and perfect, and has given me such a sense of power and confidence as I move forward, and integrated with all of my other practices. You'll truly feel unstoppable. So future self sessions. This is what I found. If you say you don't want to do them with me, yes, you can go out and get a future self reading, tarot style reading from a psychic on Etsy. Cool, that's fine. They're fun, right? But there's no tarot in between you and you, you know? I guide you into talking to you who's already been through it, who's going to use language that you understand, symbolism you understand. And that, I think, is what's so cool. So if you do want to start doing your own future self psychic readings, you will go into a semi-meditative state. Um, you're definitely very alert. It's like a psychic reading. And it is a psychic reading. And you're going to center yourself to the very best of your ability. That's key, right? And then I definitely recommend that you pray all of your protections around yourself. I've talked about this in another podcast, because, you're working on what recently I read a book. She said it's the astral plane. I don't know what plane you're on. You're definitely not on the heavenly plane, right? So you're not hanging out with angels and guides, though I would encourage you, whatever higher vibrational spiritual beings you identify with, you call them in. So I have some clients that call in angels. Like I typically, because my spiritual roots are angel. So I'll call in angels. I also call in my guides, who are my workmates, but they will come in for my own psychic reading. And sometimes I'll call in Jesus. Sometimes, though recently I had a client who's very connected to the goddesses. She called in her key goddesses. So you can call in any spiritual being, and what they are doing is, and you'll say that to them, you are holding this as sacred space. So essentially they're almost like standing guard for you so that you can enter into this dialogue, and you will say to them, you cannot influence the information that comes forward. So it's truly just you and you talking to your future self. So there's that. And I guide you through the process when we're in session. But so this is really for people who know that you're never going to buy this from me, but you do feel excited to talk to your future self. Do not do it under the influence. Do not do it under duress unless you are really incredible at being psychic. Because I can receive psychic information when I'm under duress or feeling stressed, though I have a lot of ways to get myself in and out so I can get an accurate reading. Most people don't. So you can be going through something stressful, just move yourself out of that energy. Like, do your best to move yourself out. Like, it's not that you're going to ignore your circumstances. You can go in and be like, listen, future self, I'm so stressed about this. Yes, that's totally fine. And then the other little insight I'm going to offer you in this show that I have discovered is that depending on what version of yourself you pull forward, where they're at on the timeline, and you do get to choose, right? So if you're calling in somebody who, you can always ask any version of yourself about what's going on in your life. I want to be clear there. But you can specifically ask for a specific timeline. And so recently I asked for the version of me who's on the other side of a situation I was involved in. And, this was the reading I told you about that was so accurate. And she could not stay very long because we were so close on the timeline. So say you have something tomorrow and you want psychic insight on it, and you really open yourself up to connect with that version of yourself, know that that version of you is only going to give you some very specific nuggets and bounce. And I've been really sitting with it. And what I gathered is we're just too close, right? Like, we don't want to influence the timeline. So yeah, they can only just give you the nugget you need and go. Now, if it's you that's a little longer range, I found that you can have a lengthier conversation. So I pray this was helpful and interesting. I love talking to the future self. It's like my go-to now. It is truly my go-to. Yeah, you will be so, if you are psychic and if you do like precision in your guidance, meaning you're going to act on it, there's nothing better than this, than talking to your future self. And you can do so psychically, and you can do so safely, and you can do so responsibly. So I pray that was helpful. So this show was in promotion of the Future Self sessions. It is still available, and I've revamped the sales page. It went from being like a seasonal offer to now it's going to be an evergreen offer. It's $450. You get 4 sessions. You can use them over 6 months. You can use them for whatever aspect of your life comes up. I offer 4 because I always want to teach you how to use the process so you can use it. So it's not necessarily going to be instruction. It's going to be more like a mentorship. But I feel like 4 sessions gives you an opportunity to ask for various scenarios in your life over 6 months. And at the same time, you get to refine the process so that you can either re-enroll and do more future self sessions with me or just do them on your own. So you get 4 sessions, you get 6 months to use them, $450, up to 90 minutes. It'll be one of the most coolest things you ever do. You will be so grateful for your future self. You'll be so grateful that you know how to connect to your future self. You will know precisely what to do, and you'll know that you're talking to your true and right future self on the timeline that you've called forward. And it's just doesn't get any better. Doesn't get any better. And I've tried a lot of spiritual things, and right now in my life, this practice, and I have another practice which I'll be talking about shortly, that is just making life so good, so good. Even though I haven't seen all I wanted to see just yet, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. I'm truly enjoying it because the future self is telling me. She's telling me what I need to know, so I stay in it. And I think that is what's most impactful. So future self sessions, $450. Sign up at intuitivecoachingwithamy.com. You get 6 months to use them. Thank you so much for listening to this show. I look forward to connecting with you on the next. Take care of yourself. Goodbye.